It's easy to get lost among the many mid-size three-row SUVs out there, especially among newer models. Nissan Pathfinder kicked off its current 4th generation in 2022, and to help keep things fresh, it gets a slight makeover for 2026. Over the course of this review, we'll go over what's new, where it sets itself apart, and where it might need some improvement. But before we dive into that, do us a favor, hit those like and subscribe buttons below to get all of our latest content. The bulk of the styling changes for 2026 happen right up front. We get a new grille without that trademark flying V that Nissan's been using for over a decade, and we get this more rounded, more modern, and I think a little more elegant front end. Then you also get these little side strakes here right under the headlight. Down the side and through the back, well, it's pretty much the same. This top Platinum model gets the 20-inch wheels and also has the optional two-tone roof. Under the hood of all Pathfinders is a 3.5-liter V6 engine that's good for 284 horsepower and 259 pound-feet of torque. The off-road focused Rock Creek trim, well, that ups it to 295 horsepower. But all of them also get a 9-speed automatic transmission. Front-wheel drive is standard on all but the Rock Creek, and all-wheel drive is an option on all others. At its maximum, the Pathfinder can tow up to 6,000 pounds, which is better than pretty much everything else, but it's only available in the Rock Creek and this top Platinum trim. At 6,000 pounds, that means it can pull about 1,000 more pounds than everything else in its class. How does this all come together on the road? Let's go for a spin and find out. For the most part, this Pathfinder has plenty of power. Gets up to speed just fine, doesn't feel like you're stressing out that V6 when you're getting on the highway. And really the only time I noticed anything kind of off was when I needed to pass slower traffic. When I gave it the pedal, it took quite a while for it to start gaining some speed. So something to keep in mind, something you'll get used to if you're driving this every day. Otherwise, it's just easy to drive, it's comfortable, it's also fairly quiet. Even on this coarser asphalt, it's doing a good job of filtering out all that road noise. Visibility is actually pretty good too. This A-pillar here doesn't get too much in my way. And as long as the rear headrests are folded down, I have a pretty good view out the back too. Now, the other nitpick I have while I was driving this was actually the Pro Pilot Assist, which is generally really good. Nissan was early to the game with that kind of highway driving assist, but for some reason this adaptive cruise control was a little lumpy when it was slowing down. And when I mean lumpy, it was sort of lurching, it was applying the brake in odd spots and was not smooth at all, which is very uncharacteristic for that system. As far as handling, well, I mean, it's a mid-size three-row SUV. You can't expect it to corner like a sports car, but it does it with confidence. There's not a lot of body roll, and it just feels kind of controllable. I'm not going to go bombing through turns, but it really does just instill a little bit of confidence. And for rear passengers, well, the lack of body roll should keep them nice and cozy and free from any motion sickness too. The steering effort is a little heavier than some other SUVs in the class, but for a more rugged SUV like this, it sort of feels appropriate. On the whole, there's not a whole lot to talk about when it comes to drive impressions for the Pathfinder, and that's actually a good thing. There's nothing that's really standing out as bad or particularly good. But there's a lot more to talk about with the interior, so let's pull over, talk about that. The interior of the Pathfinder has sort of a trucky, industrial, chunky feel to it, and I think it works really well. In this top Platinum model, we also get nicer materials, especially here in the door and in the center console. We do get standard wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto in all models, but if you want a wireless charger, you're going to have to step up to the SL or this top Platinum trim. I rarely go into detail about wireless chargers, but I think this one actually deserves a little bit of a shout out. It's using the latest version of the wireless charging pads where it has that magnet that really sticks your phone to it well, so it's not flopping around. It's also really easy to just drop it in there because that magnet just sucks it right down. So you know that you have a really good solid connection. Also, it's supposed to be charging faster and cooler. One of the newest features for 2026 is this larger 12.3-inch infotainment touchscreen. Now that's a big step up from the 8 or 9-inch displays that they had the previous year. It's also running a new infotainment system, and I gotta say it works really well. The responses are quick and the menus are logically arranged. There's also an improved surround view monitor that comes with the Rock Creek trim and above. Also included with the Platinum trim is premium leather seats and seat ventilation. Now, I usually like Nissan seats. They're called their zero gravity seats, and they tend to just kind of cradle me really nicely, but for some reason I'm not getting that from this Pathfinder seat. It's a little stiffly cushioned and a little lumpy here in the seat cushion itself, and the lumbar support just seems to be a little too intrusive. And these headrests here, even without my ridiculous ponytail, tends to put my head forward just a little more than I'm comfortable with. Another nitpick I have is this steering column doesn't telescope out far enough for my personal taste. As it is, I have to scoot my seat just a little closer than I prefer, or I have to lean back with my arms more straightened, which either way I'm not a big fan of. One thing I'm glad that carries over are these physical climate control buttons here and knobs, which means you can adjust temperature without having to take your eyes off the road. Another added bonus with the top Platinum trim is the 13-speaker Bose premium audio system. It sounds pretty good and good punchy bass when you want it. When it comes to storage, it's about as good as everything else that's a mid-size 3-row SUV. It does have this extra tray here in front of the front passenger, which comes in handy on road trips. You get these large cup holders and a really big center armrest bin. Drawer pockets are well sized and can also accept some of the larger water flasks. And if that's not enough for you, well, there's also this really large bin underneath the center console. Most Pathfinders come with a second row bench, but this has the optional captain's chairs. And as you can see, I have plenty of space. I'm 5'10", and this driver's seat is actually set pretty far back, and I have plenty of knee room, plenty of space under the seat for my feet, and it also slides forward, backwards, and reclines quite a bit. With this top trim, we also get heated seats and sunshades for the rear passengers. Helping to open things up is this massive panoramic sunroof that just kind of lets a little more light in and just makes it feel a little more airy and spacious. We have triple zone automatic climate control as well as 2 USB-C ports. One advantage that you have with these captain's chairs is this removable center console. It creates a little bit of a pathway here to access the third row, but it's just not the easiest to remove. You have to yank off this plastic cover here and then reach in for the lever here, and then it just kind of pops off, and it's really nice and lightweight. Now, Honda has something similar to this, but it's actually a removable center seat that fits under the cargo floor. I still give Nissan some points for this though, because it's fairly unique among the class. Now, even if you're not taking advantage of that open pass-through, accessing the third row is really easy with the touch of a button. It creates this big pass-through here that's easy to squeeze through, but it also doesn't fold forward so much that you'd have to remove a forward-facing child seat. The third row of the Pathfinder isn't as accommodating as some of the larger 3-row SUVs in its class, but it's also not as bad as some of the worst ones. Now, I'm not getting much thigh support at all because this cushion is mounted fairly low to the floor, but that gives me a good amount of headroom in return. Materials quality is, as you'd expect, hard plasticky back here, but that's pretty much par for the course for all SUVs in this class. I do have plenty of knee room though, and space under the seat for my feet, and this could probably slide forward even further if the middle row passenger was generous. Helping matters is this seat does recline, gives me quite a bit more space, and there are more moderately sized cup holders back here, 2 on each side. I don't have a charger here on this side, but there is one on the other. And to keep things from getting stuffy back here, we have our own air vents. Beyond the third row of seats, we have 16.6 cubic feet of cargo space, and we also have this really large bin underneath that will really come in handy. Folding the rear seats is fairly easy. You just flip it forward like that, and that expands it to 45 cubic feet. With the second row folded, that expands it to 80.5 cubic feet, which is pretty decent. A little smaller than the class average, but as you can see, should be more than adequate for most people. And here with the top Platinum trim, we also have hands-free power liftgate. Prices for the Pathfinder start just above $42,000 for the base SV trim. This Platinum trim costs closer to $52,000, but overall they're slightly less expensive than the competition. However, fully loaded with the options here, this is close to $56,000. It's rated between 21 and 23 mpg in combined city and highway miles, depending on trim level. The Rock Creek with the off-road equipment tends to drive it down just by 2 mpg or so. That puts it in line with the Honda Pilot and the Toyota Grand Highlander, and maybe just slightly better than the Hyundai Palisade. The problem there is the Toyota and the Hyundai are both offered in much more fuel-efficient hybrid forms. In almost every way, the Pathfinder is sort of an average competitor in the class. It does get a huge advantage for its towing capacity and also scores points for that removable center console. But as I said earlier, the Pilot has a removable center seat. It gets decent-ish fuel economy and gets the fundamentals right, but really doesn't stand out from the rest of the class. That said, it's still a strong competitor in the class, but what would you do in this case? Would you go for the forthcoming Telluride or Palisade, or maybe stick with the tried and true Honda Pilot and Toyota Grand Highlander? Let us know in the comments below. As always, thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons below, and we'll see you in the next review.